Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's session of the Faculty Development Program on Responsible AI, organized by PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, and sponsored by AICT ATAL. Let us begin with a motivating quote by Alvin Toffler. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This powerful statement highlights the importance of continuous learning, especially for educators like us who shape us the minds of the next generation. In the rapidly evolving field of responsible AI, staying updated is just not a choice, but it is also a responsibility. It's an honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Mr. Karthikeyan, Assistant Vice President and Global Head, AI, Analytics and Cybersecurity at Blue Chip Cybertech Services Private Limited, Bangalore. He's a renowned expert in the fields of artificial intelligence and data science, boasting over 15 plus years of experience in industry, academia, research, skilling, and innovation. Currently, he's working as Assistant Vice President and Global Head, AI, Analytics and Cybersecurity under Learning and Development Division at Blue Chip Cybertech Services Private Limited, Bangalore. Previously, he was a former director for AI and software development at Mind, Bangalore. Also, he was a former technical director for AEC Earth Hub, which primarily focuses on transforming India as a service hub as a part of Asset Society, Tamil Nadu. He's a founder, CEO, and head AI of AI Quantalytic Cyber Labs Private Limited, which is primarily focusing on spectrum of services from IT consulting and product development to AI-driven solutions and cloud innovations. He also provides corporate training services in AI education to various top IT firms and academic institutions at global level. Also, he's a strategic advisor for BlueLink IT Services USA Canada for guiding organizations to achieve their business objectives by leveraging technology and software solutions. He's also visiting professor and adjunct professor to few renowned university and colleges in Tamil Nadu. His research areas interest revolve around AI, data analytics, and cybersecurity. Currently, he's involved with various cybersecurity services for banking and fintech companies in India and globe. He has published 12 patents, 5 plus book chapters, 1 quantum ML book, 25 plus flagship international conferences, and 60 plus papers in Scopus and SCI indexed journals, which includes SCI IEEE transaction journals in Q1 and Q2. His contributions to skilling and certifications have earned him the prestigious role of being NASSCOM Future Skills Prime Brand Ambassador, Government of India. Furthermore, he is a certified master trainer for NASSCOM AI Data Quality Analyst and has been involved in delivering various data science and analytics courses across India under NASSCOM. Recently, he has been recognized as Cyber Ambassador by CyberSafe India for the academic year 24-25 to Tamil Nadu region. He is Certified Cybersecurity Intervention Officer by CyberSafe India for Finance and Banking, IT Cyber, Digital Security, and Production for Industries. His notable achievements have been recognized through numerous 12 plus industry, academic, and research awards in India. So far, he has delivered 150 plus technical talks in various academic and research forums in emerging technologies. He is one of the youngest IEEE senior member in IEEE Madras section. Also, he is a well-known programming coach for AICT Smart India Hackathon, which also includes Junior Smart India Hackathon, ACM ICPC, Imagine Cup, and Google Solution Cup. We are happy to have you for the 5th session of the FDP on Responsible AI. I welcome you, sir, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Surya ma'am. So let me share the screen. Thank you.
Sir, it's visible, sir. Probably, I think we can go with the slideshow.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So very good evening to one and all gathered here. So myself, Dr. Karthikeyan. So I'm an alumni of PSG Tech in 2010 to 12 batch of ME Software Engineering under the guidance of Sudha Sadasivam ma'am. So I am happy to present expert talk at my 153rd talk and different technical forum. So I'll be touching on this responsible AI framework for bank audits and fintech companies. So let us move on. So before that, let me thank Dr. Sudha ma'am and Dr. Surya ma'am for inviting me for this ATAL FDP talk. This is my fourth ATAL FDP talk in this week. So I thank Blue Chip and my own company, AI Quantalytics, for the opportunity. So just a few glimpses of a companies, what we do. So generally a blue chip cybertech services from 1999. We deliver innovative educational technology solution as well as the cybersecurity services to various companies like starting from IT to AEC industries, retail and manufacturing and OEM and banks. So this is what we do generally. We have both software and product development as well as IT solutions as well as EdTech. Let me take laser. So we have EdTech. So where EdTech, we train the students on AI, data science and cyber security. We sign a MOU with the institution. We'll hire the students for intern. We train them in cyber security audits and we'll keep them as an employee. So the same practice we do with the top universities and institutions. Also, we do for overseas educations as well. So pathway program, tuning program, and so on. So main our focus into software and product development as well as cybersecurity services for banking and fintech companies. So we have 20 plus group of companies in Malaysia and Bangalore and Canada. So these are a group of companies. We are mainly into skilling. Also, these are our services. We work on governance and risk compliance, starting from all ISO security audits, from IoT audits, then regulatory compliances, all RBI and CB and Uday, all audits, CISO, virtual CISO, and so on. Also, we do security posture assessments like VAPT, vulnerability assessment and pen testing, and robot pen testing, etc. Then a strategic consulting also we do for other company, as like I do for 2 companies for US and cyber security. Then also we be little ahead on digital forensic and cyber investigation as well. So like IPR theft, forensics technological services, fraud management, cybercrime, so on. We collaborated with the Maharashtra government completely. We support them for cybercrime investigations, now only on digital crimes. Also, our another vertical is training and awareness. There we play EduTech is our main area where we do train on cyber awareness training for students and faculty and institution, dean, vice chancellor, school principals, and so on. We do give cyber awareness training program. Also, we do give a lot of security courses, free as well as set of paid courses. So our objective is to make build a community, cyber aware community. So that is the as a part of CSR activity, we do training and awareness for the various institutions and corporates. So our target sectors, corporate, we start from corporate enterprise to educational institution, finance institution, technological company, healthcare and government. So also our audience, main audience are bank, then insurance company, cloud partners, public sectors, and telecoms. So these are our various audience with respect to against the target sectors. So we partner with various channel partners. We spread across the globe: US, UK, India, and Dubai, and Bangladesh, Japan. Recently, we opened in Saudi and Australia. So our main sectors in banking, insurance, education, hospitality, healthcare, research, manufacturing, and petrochemicals, pharma, telecom, and e-commerce and IT. We do provide security solutions to all these sectors. So our primary location in India and Malaysia and Bangalore. So in India, we are located in Bangalore. So this is who we are and what we do generally. So now let us move on to the topic. So as per the impact radar of 2024, meaning what is going to be rule the world for the next 8 years. So there you can see this central circle is the current year, 0 to 1 year, as Garner's report says, right? So generative AI and the current year is knowledge graphs, generative AI, then mixed of responsible AI, intelligent application, digital twins. These are all the current trends for the next 2 years. So we are in the right phase. So like we are into the responsible AA. The responsible AA works in all the sectors. So here I'll be talking about only the bankings, where I work on banking and fintech companies. So I'll be showing you set of various frameworks on responsible AA. I'll divide the session into three parts. The part one is what is responsible AA and various use cases, how this RAA works in banking. The second part is what are the various AA frameworks for these bank audits. Then part three, what is the various adoption strategies and what is the ethical issues there in this adopting AA, responsible AA frameworks. This is how my agenda. So now let us move on to the what is responsible AA. So I think you must come across the past 4 sessions. What is a responsible AA? So the simple term we can say, you can develop and deploy a ML model or AA model where it provides highly ethical and transparent and accountable along with the societal values. So at the same time, it should operate in fairness, high fairness and privacy, and also it comply with the various regulation and standards. So this is how the responsible AA is, where you can deploy your ML model, where you can deploy your DL model, where you can create your AI machines, but that provides highly ethical values. So there are a set of key factors are there for responsible AI. One is the main, one is the fairness, then transparency, accountable, secure, privacy, and aligned with the governance and regulations. So these are the main parameters. When you say fairness, so it should be, we should avoid more biases and discriminations. So we'll talk about bias and discriminations in the upcoming slide. So then the transparency, your intelligent machines or your AI decision should be explainable and understandable. So that you can say your responsible AI is highly transparent. Then it should be accountable, meaning it should take a complete ownership of the AI decision. Then you can say there is a responsible AI. That is one of the key features. Then secure, meaning it should protect your data. At that same time, it should protect your model from any attack, cyber attacks. Then privacy respecting, it ensures proper handling of your user data. So the data handling, this is where your lot of compliances, ISO compliances, your other compliances, then auditing parameters, metrics comes in. Then aligned with governance and regulations, meaning we should adhere to the local and global laws, whereas your GDPR is one of the your audit. Then your DPDP is another act which is mainly meant for your individual data production and organizational data productions. There are different key principles for the RAA, responsible AA. As I said, mainly we always talk about we should not violate this 5 parameter at any cost. To calculate the fairness, we have a set of ML models are available. I'll show 1 or 2 sample models in the upcoming slides. Then explainability, accountability, privacy and security, and robustness. These 5 are the major key principles of responsible AA with respect to any domain. There are few examples of responsible AA. One is how this RAA. So instead of using RAA, I'm using AA. So how this AA is used in healthcare. Simply in a healthcare, just I kept one scenario. In healthcare, for example, this responsible AA model predicts the disease diagnosis. So there, what is the responsible AA focus? Mainly will ensure the system provides fairness values. Whether the system provides your fair outcomes without any discrimination, right? So for the diverse population, then you can say this is a responsible AA. There are various tools where there. One of the famous tool was Google's model cards. There you can adopt complete documentation, document model details, as well as set of use cases and various limitations. So this is one of the best document model for your fairness outcome calculation. The second use case is AA in credit scoring, that is in a banking. So nowadays 79% of banks in India, they started adopting AAs in their regular process. For example, the scenario you take, AA determines the loan approval and credit score calculation. So where we apply your responsible AA. But here, what is the role of responsible AA focus? We should It should not avoid the gender discrimination. It should prevent the bias. Meaning AI models must also explain why loans were approved or denied. If you approve a loan, you should give an explanation why it is approved. If you deny a loan, you should explain, the model should explain why it is denied. Then you can say that a responsible AI is into a picture. There are the best example tool throughout the session I'm talking about is IBM AI Fairness 360. This tool is a completely open source tool where you can calculate the fairness value for your any ML models, what you created for your research or work, something like that. You can download this IBM AI Fairness 360 and you can detect and mitigate your bias values. Right? Another tool is Shapely Values also provides a transparency into the loan decision. These two are one of the famous tools for the credit score calculation. Then the third one is AI evaluates the hiring process, how this supports the hiring process. So we also developed a plugin. It is completely NLP based plugin, which is called application tracking system. Nowadays, we may apply for a number of companies or institution. Our resume may not be shortlisted because it is not supported. Our CVs are not created with the ATS format, or it is not, we are not followed the ATS template. So meaning what it will do, so we created our own plugin. So if I upload 1,000 CVs at a time, so then I can give the 1,000 CVs URL to my tracker. It automatically detects or shortlists the resumes based on the skill set, right? So there we avoid biases in favoring like gender case, ethnicity, or educational background. Your irresponsible age should not deviate or should not show bias in any categories like your gender. So right, maximum of ATS, it will avoid the female candidates. That is a biggest issue in the, that is the biggest biased value. Amazon AI hiring bias, it always ignores the female candidates because of the lack of trained data set issues. So how do you solve it? Meaning you should implement some kind of fairness over algorithm to mitigate issues. So this you can, if you see this, let me open this. See, this is our NLP based ATS resume tracker. I just uploading. Can you see my? Can you see this PDF, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Screen
So
is
now,
visible. Yeah.
So here I am just uploading the zip file. So this zip file contains, you can see 326 resumes in a zip file. So in a fraction of a second, I am shortlisting the CV. See my keyword skill sets. I want to shortlist an employee who is having a skill BIM skills, AutoCAD, Revit, MEP, and ML, right? So these skills, whomsoever they mentioned these skills, so my tracker, it will analyze all the CVs and it will shortlist you the matching candidates. Out of this 326, see how many were shortlisted. 57 CVs were shortlisted. This is completely a responsibility that we developed. So I want the ATS tracker to give only the email ID and phone number, because I have a set of telecallers. They'll be start calling them for the scheduling interviews. So in such cases, Naveed, his mail ID and phone number, LinkedIn is not provided in the CV. Then matched skill set. Out of this three skill sets were matched. What is the summary and everything is given. Whatever you want, you can shortlist. So now we can start calling to these people. So this is one of the best ATS tracker, is completely responsible AI. The next one, even this responsible AI, we can help in fraud detections in a bank, fraudulent transaction in bank, right? So it easily identify you, it will easily prevent your false positive cases, and it will flag such cases. For example, H2O.ai, it is one of the accurate anomaly detection in financial frauds. So this tool is completely responsible AI. So when you say responsible AI, the model should accept for the positive result as well as the negative result. It should give the proper result. It should take the ownership. It should take the control over for the entire process, end to end. So that is how this responsible AI works. So then autonomous vehicles, so also self-driving cars make real-time decision on the road. So where your accountabilities come to the picture. So Tesla, Waymo, so all are in a testing stage. So there also your RAAs comes to the picture. Then content moderation as well. Social media platforms uses your AI to create your appropriate content and inappropriate content. So there your RAAs comes into the picture. So these are the different tools supporting your RAA. One is IBM AA Fairness 360. The second one is your Microsoft Fairland. These two tools everybody can use. You can try it out. It's a completely open source. The third one is a LIME, local interpretable model acoustic explanation. This is also provides a clear explainability on the AA decision. Then, as I told you, shape. Then model cards. Model card is completely transparent documentation of AI models. So you can clearly mention what is the limitation, bugs, again the solution, metrics, and everything. You can mention it Google model cards for your fairness calculation. So this is how. The next one is your what is this responsible AI framework is all about. So mainly it's meant for prevent bias. Then what is enhances the trust, then ensures the compliances. So this is where we are working on. So we are ensuring the compliances to banking and fintech companies, where we do conduct various audits for the banks. We do recently, if you come across Tanis jeweler, I think Malabar jeweler. So recently there is a big scam. The people try to purchase a diamond jewelers. They purchased a diamond jewelers in Karnataka. They transfer the 90 lakhs rupees money. The OTTP verified and everything is done in a physical manner, but the money was not transferred to the Malabar account. So there again, so the personal data is right, the employee data is right, everything. So we do what we do is again, we go there and we support them in doing analyzing their customer data as well as the organizational data where it was went wrong. So then we do audits. For them, we do a lot of audits, GDPR. So healthcare, if it's a healthcare company, we do HIPAA audits. So for this type of company, we do GDPR, DPDP kind of things. Generally, GDPR covers it will how to secure or protect a whole organization or employees' data. That is what GDPR talks about. General data protection, private, I mean, personal regulation. Then DPDP is digital information. It is completely talks about how to protect on humans, individuals' private data. GDPR always talks about how to secure organization data of the employees. DPDP talks about our individual private data, like we might have uploaded our Aadhaar card, digital PAN cards, everything, DigiYatra, your DigiLocker, Parivahan, your license, everything. So how to protect such data? So for that, we do audits on DPDP. If your organization data, you might have submitted your certificates, Aadhaar card, PAN card in your organization where you works in. There to, in order to audit such data, so whether it is safe or not. They might have stored all your data in a cloud. We do check for whether the data are safe or not. So there we do for GDPR compliance. So these are the set of regulatory compliance. This DPDP Act is which is formed on 2023, but it's not yet to it is yet to release actually. Even 2024 is over, but it is not comes to an act. The old DPDP only we are using so far. Then the fourth one is why responsible AI matters. It protects the privacy. It prevents
AI analytics.
Then the fourth one is it protects the privacy, meaning prevents the misuse of sensitive data, then promotes the safety. So these are the 5 key parameters why responsible AI matters nowadays. Finally, we can say this responsible AI ensures that AI systems act ethically and fairly and transparently in order to build trust, mitigate the risk, and comply with the regulations. This is the objective of this responsible AI in banking. Now, so far I covered what is a responsible AI. Now, how does the responsible AI work supports for banking and audits? The mainly this bank and financial institutions, not academic institution, other companies, is increasingly leverage the AA for tasks like risk assessment, fraud detection, loan approval, and auditing process. In all these four major pillars, we use responsible AA, meaning we'll make sure whether these systems operates responsibly. Right, City Union Bank, they use complete ATM is using your responsible AA, like logistic regression, loss of regression. So kind of SBI, HSBC, there are all the banks, they started using clear ML model, which I will show the images in the class. The main purpose is to whether the system is able to withstand on own, or whether the system able to operate responsibly, whether the system is taking complete ownership in order to safeguard the customer trust and regulatory compliance and ethical outcome. That is the main motive of this responsible AA for banks and audit. As I told you earlier, there are different core components. One is a fairness. When you say fairness, all the AA system must avoid bias and discriminations. So meaning it ensuring the decisions are fair and equitable for all the demographics. If you take loan approval system, it should not discriminate based on the gender or race or any other ethnic background details. It should not discriminate in such cases. So in order to make sure, we will adopt the responsible AA. So how do you make sure? The solution is you can use any fairness aware algorithms, or you can use your regular audit data sets for your tools, IBM A Fairness 360 or FairLearn tools. So you keep checking your data sets whether it is avoids the bias and discriminations. The second one is transparency and explainability. Always your system must provide clear explanation how decisions are made. That is very important. If the customer loan application is denied, why the AA system should explain, the system should explain the key factors, why the loan was denied. Example, what is the income, what is the house credit score, how the credit score were calculated. It is not a CIBIL score, it is a credit score. So for that, we will use set of RAA tools. Lime is one of the tools. This will provide you explainable AA outputs. Then the shape is another tool. It will also give you the detailed features importance of an AA decisions. Then accountability. The banks and auditors must take responsibility for AA systems outcomes, and also ensure the accountability mechanisms are there in the place. For example, if the bank AA-based fraud detection system flags false positive, then the bank must resolve this error quickly. Suppose the AA-based system identifies some false positives, then at the same time, bank also should work parallelly and needs to rectify such error. That is how the accountability will be maintained between the bank and the AA systems. For this, there are set of frameworks as maintained. Establishing AA governance committees also will implement clear ownership of the AA systems. There are a lot of ethical guidelines will be followed. Then the data privacy as another key principle. One is all the AA system must protect the sensitive financial data and the personal data with respect to the compliance and regulation. Here, banks must ensure that customer financial data is processed securely and in compliance with the GDPR and DPDP. As I said, GDPR is General Data Protection Regulation. Here we are protecting the organization employees data, whereas DPDP is a Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. But here we are protecting our individual data, where we stored all our data in a digital media. So that is how this act were introduced. Here there are two techniques might be used. One is a federated learning. Another one is the encryption method in order to secure our model. Then the compliance with regulation. All your responsible AA ensures the compliance with the financial regulations and global AA frameworks. So GDPR is one of the regulation to protect our data privacy. Then DPDP Act is another private act for in order to protect our individual data. Base 3 is also another compliance in order to ensure the bank risk management. Then ISO and IEC, International Electric Mission compliance. So ISO 27001 is mainly meant for the IT security audits. So institution, you may have a different ISO, but whereas this ISO 27001 audit is a mandatory audit for all the IT companies. So starting from small, medium, large, we do this ISO 27001 for all the companies. This is how this different key principles, I mean core components of responsible AA for banking and audits. Then where these responsible AA in banking used, one is the loan approval and credit score calculation. So mainly RAA is used. Then fraud detection and preventions, right? So meaning that this AA detects anomalies in transaction, reducing the frauds. So there your ML model is used, H2O.AA is used. Risk management, in order to assess and mitigate the financial risk factors, your RAA is used. Also finally in the auditings, where why in auditing? Because the many processes were automated. So there we use RAA. So that is what we used. So this various frameworks, OECD AA principle mainly meant for the international principles for ethical AA, ISO, then base committee, GDPR DP, then Microsoft AA ethics. There are a set of governance and compliance policies were maintained for the exclusively for banks and audit. So if you take this AA credit score case study, there is a system, they assume there is a system without a responsible AA. For example, we want to calculate the credit score for a gender. But what by the global bank? The current scenario is the credit score system is used by global bank generally unintentionally denied the loans to female application. This is the common bug for the past decade. So they'll deny the loans for the female applicants due to the historical biases in the data sets. So then the data set to be reviewed. So if you adopted the AA, then the data set should be reviewed by the fairness value calculation. So then we must have avoided this issue. So what is the solution here? We can use, we do bias audit. For doing a bias audit, we will use the fairness tool calculation. Then data rebalancing. So we must ensure the data are represented all demographically fairly. Then explainability, we need to provide the insights to take a decision. Also, it must, the final end results become improved fairness in credit score calculation and increases the customer trust. Without doing anything, simply if you reject the loans, obviously, so this will give you the lower, less trust to the customer. So obviously, when you adopt all these things, obviously the customer trust might be increased. These are the various tools for responsible AA, IBM AAF 360. So generally it will detect and mitigate the bias in the AA model. Then the second one is your Microsoft FairLearn. It ensures the fairness in machine learning model. You can use this tool to calculate your ML model fairness value. Generally, you do with your confusion matrix calculation, precision, recall, all the sensitivity, specificity, and so on. So fairness also can be considered for calculating your ML models. Then the Google model cards. So it creates the transparent model documentation. Also privacy tools, compliance, and automated audits. So these are the GitHub links. The source code is completely available, so you can download it. So GitHub, so this is IBM open source. This is Microsoft open source. FairLearn is by Microsoft. Your IBM AA Fairness 360 by the IBM. So mainly this AIF, AA Fairness 360 helps banks to comply with the regulation, reduces the risk, and build the trust with the customer. That is the main purpose. At the end is the customer satisfaction. So they use such tools in order to increase the customer trust. The benefits of this AA in banks and auditing, one is enhanced trust, because when you adopt more tools. So obviously it will increases your trust. Then regulatory compliance, improved accuracy, also the risk reduction were introduced. There are few set of challenges. One is data bias. So because the historical bias, because data are if not considered geographically, so then there will be a historical bias which impacts your end model outcome. Then lack of explainability, difficulty in explaining AI black box models because we may not know the inner functionality. So then privacy concerns, handling large volume of data of the sensitive financial data. That is the biggest challenge for when you use the tools. Also high cost. So when you use such tools, there will be a cost factor is involved. Investment in tools, resources, and AI audits. For cyber security tools alone, we almost spend 1.5 crore. So 70 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 20 lakhs, number of license matters. So the cost factor is involved. So then how this responsible AI is adopted? If you see this diagram, so this is companies considered above 100 billion profit. So the 70% of 75% of companies, they start being implemented the AI into their banking process. This UBS, Union Bank of Swiss Evidence Lab Report 2023 says, so 75% of banks are started responding in implementing AI. Then this 5% is not planned. Then 8% is in pilot. Then currently evaluate 13% is in progress. So everybody started adopting their meaning there is a huge impact on the banking sector because the data is playing a vital role. If anything is goes, we can get back. If your data is goes, you cannot get back the data. So the data is playing a vital role, right? So this works in a three fundamental level. One is what process they adopt. Another one, the product and services what they sell. Then finally it is the user experience to the customer and employees. Next one, same this use cases across these three offices. Where are we using this use cases? Then either they may use in front office or works, patchworks, and middle office and back office. In front office, they might have used in customer interface, personalization, authenticity, identification of customers using biometric, and wealth management. There they use your responsible AI tools. In middle office, in order to identify the fraud reduction, risk management, KYC calculation, money laundering, credit rating services, and loan decisions, they use RAA. Then the back office, business strategy insights, back end process, and back end is mainly went for regulatory complaints, all the complaints. So there they use responsible AIs. So here how this UBS bank executive recognized the four most beneficial use of AI. 79% of people automates the process and helps improve the efficiency in a bank. 47% help identify the capitalize the revenue opportunities, and 37% of responsible AI used to calculate or identify the fraud detection and security, and 7% RAA is used for customer service. So mainly meant for 79%, they are using AI to make their process simpler, automated. So that is what this AI is used. Then 47% they are using capitalizing their revenue opportunities for the upcoming months. So this is how the set of use cases used in AI in banking. Next, there are set of use cases of AI deployed in a global banks. So mainly the use cases are classified into three. One is customer experience, another one is AI empowered employees, and AI powered insights. How this is classified? In customer experience, if you start providing identity production, then B2C and B2B digital assistance to the customer, then the customer experience will be increased. Then it will bring you the more It will increases your customer trust. Then digitalized customer service, then targeted offers, new banking products, the easy way of calculating the credit score, whether I'm eligible for getting loan, then better products identified by the sentimental analysis. That's also a recommendation. So these are the major pillar of this. So this is how the classified. The second case is AA empowered employees. Are the managers or the general relationship managers are well trained with AA or not? Then wealth advisory, risk compliance, RPA, robotic process automation, financial forecasting, credit department, marketing and planning department. So these are all as another second pillar of this use case. Then insights. So where we'll use KYC fraud prevention, payments prevention, customer retention, surveillance, cross-sell and upsell opportunities, and your we need to entitle your profiles of credit worthy customers. So these are the different verticals where your bankings in a global level. So in a global level, these are the main three use cases you need to concentrate on. So that's how your responsible AI is all about. What is their objective? What are the advantages, disadvantages? Where are we using? Next, we'll move on to few set of standards. Since this the topic which I given to me is the responsible AI with your regulations, standards, and governance. So the my second focus area is part two, responsible AI frameworks and standards relevant to bank audits in India. So there are here I'm going to show 10 types of AI frameworks, which is mainly meant for the bank audit where we work. So what is the purpose of it? Mainly for the in order to make the customer in a trusted way. So more customer trust, also the data privacy and the risk free. So that is the main purpose of this responsible AI framework and standards relevant to bank audits in India, incorporating the compliance, governance, and risk management. The main one is ISO standards. All the banks must follow the ISO standards 27001, then GDPR, then VAPT, and RBI regulation. All the cooperative banks in India, they must follow this RBI guidelines. They must do the audits every year before March. So that is what we pitch a business. So we do audits for all the banks, right? So starting from ISO, GDPR, HIPAA, and everything. So then every year they'll change the audits patterns by the different vendors. So this is a common thing. One is RBI guidelines on responsible AI. The Reserve Bank of India emphasizes the ethical use of AML tools in the banking sector. It has officially RBI announced to all the banks that every banks must use the AML tools in their banking sector in order to make the process more simpler, or it should improve the audit processes while managing the risk. So main the feature is here, AI system must be auditable and explainable. That is a main criteria. When you use AML tools, the tools must be audited at the same time it should be explainable. That is the first constraint here. The second one, the tool must be evaluated with the fairness value, meaning it ensures the fairness in lending in fraud detection AML. You cannot it cannot simply tell 80% fraud, 90% fraud. That should be a proper, genuine documentation. Then it mandates the risk mitigation framework for AA banking process. So here, how we use this in bank audit ensures that AI used in internal external audits follows proper governance practice and safeguard mechanisms. So this is how we use first framework is in banks RBI guidelines for your responsible AI. Then your ISO IEC 42001. I think this is not going. So this ISO IEC 42001 is the one of the first international standard for managing the AI system. This is the first regulation body they brought in order to manage all your AI systems. So it should clear ISO IEC 42001. So International Electrotechnical Commission, that is 42001. So the main features is here, it should establishes the governance, risk management and ethical practices of AI in development. The second one is ensures the transparency and accountability. The third one is at the same time data quality and fairness. So this type of standards will help the bank in implementing structured governance system. This is where we use this framework in regular banking audits. Third one is ISO 27001. As I said, it is the Information Security Management System, ISMS. Here, it is one of the international standard to manage the information security risk. So, how to manage the IT security risk? So, that will be evaluated with the help of ISO 27001. So, here the key features are it ensures the confidentiality, CIA triangle, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability of banking data. Also, it requires the AI systems used in audits to meet security benchmark, and it incorporates the risk assessment and continuous monitoring. How do we adopt this? It ensures this ISO 2700 ensures AI tools used for audit purpose to meet the cyber security requirement. This mainly meant for ISO 27001 in order to maintain the cyber security in banks. That is what it manages the information security risk. This is one of the mandatory audit for all the banks, right? Here we need to adopt this ISO 27001 end of the financial year December. So every bank must submit this ISO 2700 to the RBA, stating that our banks are data are secure enough. Our individual customers' data, also the employee data is secure enough. So that is what we do, VAPT and ISO. If the banks are violating or avoiding this audit, then their RBI is able to charge minimum starting from 2 lakhs to 2 crore. Recently, Canara, they are charged, many banks, they are charged because they are not doing the audits. So that is how that is what this is the importance of audit. How banks are protecting your customers' data. Then the fourth one is a DPDP. As I said, digital personal data production. Digital personal data production is mainly meant for our individuals' data. All the banks must ensure their individuals' data is also safe. One is the key features are data production, consent mechanism. Third one is a data minimization. When you say data production, AI tools must ensure financial data privacy. Consent mechanism, customer data is used for AI audits, requires explicit consent from the customer. Then data minimization, use only necessary data for the audit. We should not take complete customers' data for the audit. So how are we going to adapt? How this compliances are adopted in banks? Meaning it ensures the responsible handling of personal financial data in AI tools during for audits, right? So then this is how the GDPR, when you say GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, this General Data Protection Regulation is a complex and ever evolving legal framework that governs the collection, processing, and storage of personal data with European Union EU. So also it results in significant fines and reputation damage. If your violates the GDPR, then your European Union and the combined with your RBI or CB, they'll fine a charge to the respective banks. So how the benefits? What is the GDPR benefits? One is enhanced data production, then improved customer trust, then global data production standards, then fourth one is a legal compliance. right? When you say enhanced data production, once this banks clears the GDPR audit, then it ensures the robust data production practice to safeguard the personal information of the individuals. Also, this audit demonstrates the commitment to data privacy and fostering the positive relationship with the customer and gaining the competitive edges. Similarly, global data production for your international business operation, also for the regulatory frameworks. So this is how the GDPR. What is this data production impact assessment? At the end, they'll submit the report, detailed report. We used to call DPIA, Data Production Impact Assessment. This DPIA, it will tell you the set of, it will identify you the set of risks associated with the data processing activity. When you try to store your data, when try to fetch your data, users data, what kind of risk? Is there any loopholes? Is there any ports? Is there any associated other hyperlinks were integrated into a system? So this system, this report will submit you brief report on the risk factors. So that is how the data production impact assessment report. Then the fifth one is the famous VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. The purpose of doing this is in order to check whether your system, whether your web, whether your mobile application, whether your cloud, whether your storage, whether your server, whether your website is safe or not. Generally, we do for all institutions, college website, where financial payment is involved. The institutions, the website, which may consist of payment gateway, might be integrated. The students needs to pay their tuition fee, hostel fee, exam fees through their website. So the majority of the institutional website we are doing for the lot of top universities website. So there are a lot of vulnerabilities found. Their website is vulnerable to attack. So they may feel that amount is going and depositing in their account, but actually not. We proved for various institutions. We did for this VAPT as a free of cost for the various institutions as a part of our MOU. So this VAPT vulnerability, we will identify the weakness of the system. So there we will use the AI model to identify the weakness of the system. Pen testing is mainly meant for the security breaches, in order to identify the security breaches in their system for using AI tools, right? So this VAPT can be applicable for various. Either you can use even for maybe PSG Tech may be using your internal ERP. This internal ERP also sometimes is a weak or vulnerable. Students in VIT, recently students tried to attack the VTOP, their internal ERP. They changed their mark, they changed their internal mark, everything. But we may not know. Students, they did for the past 3 years without attending class, but everything is what happened. Meaning the ERP also vulnerable, ERP also weak enough. So we do ERP source code audit also we do. Also, we do SOC, Security Operations Center audits. We do for your college websites. We can do the audits. Your cloud, your storage, your network, firewall, your Wi-Fi devices, everything we can do the audits and we can give you the brief report. So it is a kind of, even your students, you can ask your students to do such things. So there you can physically see how your system, your network, everything is vulnerable. The same thing we do for all the banks. That is what I really meant for here. There we will use set of various AI audit tools and data pipelines in order to avoid from the data breaches. In every year, if you take IBM data breach report 2023 and 2024, every year this data breach, the number of accounts hacked in global level is increasing by 15%. In India alone, 5.13 million accounts were hacked, right? So simply, I can show here. You can go here and you can type. You can use the site. Have I been warned? Here, this is the site where you can check whether your data are breached or are they using your data somewhere. You can give, suppose I'm keeping karthikintelligent@gmail.com. I'm checking pond. So whether my data are used by anybody, whether my accounts were breached or not. See here, good news, my data was not breached. This mail ID was not used by any fellow because this is new mail ID. So now I'm trying to use some other mail ID, something like that. See here, my data was breached. Data breaches in 14 places. There will be 14 data breaches found, right? See here, I'll show. See, LinkedIn using my data from 2016. Then Danny Web, something I don't know. So it is used. Zomato is used. Then your something other websites. Dubsmash is used. Animato, this PDL customer site, Nitropedia, Big Basket, LinkedIn, Twitter. So these are the areas. I think luckily there is no vulnerable because recently I predicted. So these are the areas where my data were breached. So if you found, you can check even your mail IDs, credentials here. It is a free. Have I been pawned? So this is the site. Similarly, you can check because every second our individual data were breached by somebody else, or they are trying to enter into our accounts or network. So in such cases, you must do your VAPT for your digital assets. That is where we do it. So there are set of tools we do for VAPT. One is Nmap or Wireshark or Nexus. We use these tools in order to scan our vulnerabilities in the AI model. Then Burpsuit is one of the famous tools we use for pen testing, for auditing your AI systems. So this is where we do. So we may ask, what is a VAPT? So simple terms. So it is a kind of identifying your weakness, your open doors. You may give your system, your network. I can easily tell you how many open ports are there in your system, your website, everything. So people will come via only your open doors. So we should restrict such open doors. So how do you restrict such open doors? Because you must do VAPT. So this is one of the kind of tools where you can stop your identifying your weakness, and you can arrest it by using various risk mitigation techniques. So generally we say vulnerability assessment is a process of identifying or quantifying or prioritizing the vulnerabilities in the system. Or penetration test is an attack on a computer system that looks for security weakness, potentially gaining access to computer's features data. So, but initial level for interns, what we do, we'll teach them pen testing. We'll ask them to attack the websites. We'll ask them to halt the websites of some sample sites. Even we'll give the reverse engineering to get back the site. So if there is any vulnerability is found, any open ports found, then obviously we can attack it, and finally you can take the complete control over your data. What they do by taking the control over people, because people, they'll claim money, people they'll ransom. Ransom meaning what? Ransom is nothing but your money. They'll ask for money. So recently in July 2024, 300 Indian banks were attacked in Bombay. There are 300 banks of Indian banks and financial institutions were affected by ransomware. That is one of the biggest scam in this year 2024. So immediately what they do, so they'll start identifying the system, they'll isolate it, then they'll disconnect all the connectivity, internet, they'll keep 24 hours isolation, they'll start identifying. Immediately what they do, they'll call the auditors, they'll start investigation. They'll do the auditings of all these things, how data was analyzed, predictor, where it was used. From that, they'll start predicting. So mainly first they'll do VAPT, where the loophole was, where is the weakness, where is the vulnerable, the software, how they attacked. So there your VAPT comes to in a picture, right? So that is how the importance of VAPT for everything. How it is evaluated, how it is assessed. There are generally, when you say VAPT has a 5 stages. One is your information gathering, then your scanning, then your vulnerability analysis, then your exploitation, and the final one is a report submission. So when you say information gathering, so information gathering or understanding or reconnaissance all are same meaning. So first we'll gather the information, active and passive information. Then you finalize the scope, then understand and underline the technology and service version, then do the scanning. After scanning, again, you identify the active and passive. You classify active threats and passive threats. Then here, this information gathering is applicable for different. You can apply for network, you can apply for web, you can apply for OS, you can apply for applications. You can apply anything on information gathering on all five these things. VAPT applicable for all these things. Web, your mobile app, again your network, again your storage, again your hardware devices. So your VAPT is a common for all five these parameters. So data is gathered from all these parameters, perimetric devices, web, operating system, and applications. Then start identifying the vulnerabilities. So out of this five, if any vulnerables found, then we need to locate the known vulnerabilities and unknown vulnerabilities. Then once vulnerabilities were identified, then you need to analyze such vulnerabilities by filtering and confirming various attack methods. Then finally, we do the pen testing. We attack it with the existing vulnerability. Then do the post-impact analysis. What is the vulnerability, whether it was attacked before, what is the level of score and everything. Then how to solve it. That is a mitigation techniques. Then finally, the detailed finding reports were submitted to the executive committee. So this is how this VAPT works, right? First one is understanding. After understanding your threat profiling, then test plan was generated. Then we do automation testing followed by manual testing. Report is generated. Finally, the KT will be done to their higher levels. So this is how this vulnerability assessment were worked. So this assessment services, as I said earlier, we do VAPT for web application assessment, pen testing, mobile application, network, as well as the normal vulnerability for the websites. So for every stage, we'll be using different tools. Whatever the tools I mentioned here is completely free. All the tools for information gathering, you can use set of tools. So same privilege and escalation, you have set of tools. Social engineering attacks, you can have separate tool. Application security, port scanning, exploit mainly people, the attackers will enter via these open ports. So you need to arrest all such open ports through using Nmap or Wireshark or Splunk, various tools were there. So you can use such tools to identify your ports. Then network and system vulnerability. So Metasploit, Nexus is a famous tools in order to scan your networks, right? Then also there are a set of commercial tools also found. So there also we can use. This is how the fifth responsible AI framework, that is VAPT. Then the sixth one is SEBI. SEBI is Securities and Exchange Board of India. So SEBI also declare the guideline for the AML for applicable to bank audits. So the SEBI mandates governance and reporting for AML tools in finance sector. All the fintech companies, they'll go with your SEBI. All the banks, they'll go with RBI, right? So this is also, they'll use SEBI. In SEBI audits also, they'll be using set of AI models in order for governance and compliances. So how they use governance for AI used in fraud detection and regulatory reporting and audits. So there they use your AML models. The seventh framework is MeitY Responsible AI Principle. Government of India, MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and IT, emphasis ethical AI deployments in India. So in even institutions and everywhere, IT everywhere, there should be ethical AI deployments in India. Meaning we should align with the AI audit system with national level AI governance principle. So if you adopt your AI in your IT, or any other sector, AEC, or any other industry, retail, manufacturing, you should follow the national level AI governance principles. Meaning your AI system, it should be transparent. Also, it should include it should adapt inclusivity, because it algorithmic biases should not be there. Then security should be there, meaning there should be a compliance with the data privacy, and also you should follow some VAPT standards. So MATI also recommends to use your responsible AI principles. Then certain is one of the certification body for mainly meant for AI cybersecurity, right? All the audits, the auditors, the auditing companies who do, they must be certain certified computer emergency response team. They should show their skills, their team skill set, then their certification levels and everything they must submit, so that certain body will certify you with certain certification to the industry. Here, regular security assessments for AI system in the banks, also mandate the VAPT for AI-driven tools, and incident reporting and response protocol for various AI failures also mentioned. So then the ninth one, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, we call IICA. So this is also AI governance framework. This is one of the voluntary framework. So mainly meant for the Indian business and financial institutions. So yeah, they can choose this framework for your business and financial audits. The last one is ISO IEC 27701. It is PIMS, we call PIMS, Privacy Information Management System. This is a kind of extended version of ISO 27001. So if you want to move to 27001, the prerequisite must be ISO 27001, mainly meant for the privacy focused AI data systems. The key features are it is compliance with GDPR, DPDP, also privacy protection. Also, it defines the roles and responsibilities, privacy impact assessment. So, how they use it in bank audits ensures the AI system to handle the audit data with complete privacy compliance. So, there they'll use this ISO things. So, as we said, this ISO 27001, so it is mainly meant for your structured approach to manage information security within the organization. That is how this ISO 27001, how your internal data or employee data were secure enough. So it should provide a comprehensive framework to establish and implement and maintain continuously improved information security management system. So that you can say your data are confidential, integrity, then available the data all the time. So this standard focuses on risk management process, at the same time empowering the organization to recognize various potential threats to the towards your information security. There are set of benefits of this ISO 27001: enhanced security posture, then customer trust and confidence will be increased, then legal and regulatory compliance, business continuity, competitive advantages, and risk management. So these are the benefits, right? So there are set of banking institution and non-banking institution. The difference between banking and non-banking is non-banking institution, they may not hold any banking license. They also do banking services like your Sundaram Finance, AU Small Finance, Janada Finance, so two-wheeler finance. There are a number of finance, they'll give you loan in a fraction of seconds. Sorry. They also non banking financial services, but they may not hold any banking license. But whereas all the banks which are in a top, they'll be adopting all these protocols, all these regulation standards, so that they'll be achieving the highest trust on the customers. Then the various processes being involved. One is a gap analysis, risk treatment, internal audit, risk assessment, finally certification audit. So these are the process of your overall ISO. That is how the top 10 frameworks, ISO, GDPR, DPDP, BAPT, your ISO, IEC. So these are all the different top 10 frameworks in Indian for the Indian banks. The third one is how to adopt this AI in banking in India. So mainly all the banking sectors in India now increasingly adopting AI. You believe it or not, so totally 77% of Indian bankers are agreed to adopt, also adopted their AIs in their systems, right? So globally, suppose the banks example SBI, Bank of Baroda, HDFC, ICICI, Yes Bank, and Citi, they are all already deploying their AI to streamline their regular process maximum. So the recent report says 83% of Indian bankers higher than the global average of 79%. So they are adopted AI in the next 2 years. So what is needed? So when you adopt this, what will be the necessity? One is trained manpower, then importance of data standardization, different enforcement approaches, user capacity, multiple languages, then data protection and privacy. So this matter, these are the different challenges for adopting your AI frameworks. So then the best framework for AI adoption is, so we call it as STAR. So one is the data, people, process, and technology. When you say data, this framework is developed by IDRBT association with the techno bankers, right, in 2023. So here, when you say data, the data, it should be highly quality. Then at the same time, this should follows the data governance policy. Then when you want to adopt AI for your banking, then people should be good enough with the technological emerging skills. Data scientists should be deployed, AI/ML experts should be deployed. At the same time, business process re-engineering or engineering should be well taught to their employees or in their regular process. Organizational structure to be followed. Change the business process when you adopt AI. Then the fourth one, the banks must adopt a technology. GPU machine should be there. The cluster of CPUs or GPU must be there. Then data warehouse must be there. The various data lakes may be there. So it is a kind of large, when if you want to store the large volume of data, you must have a data lake, right? It's a kind of storage. So these are the mandatory things for your framework for your AI adoption. So when you say, that is what the question. So if you want to adopt AI, what are the necessary things? One is the data is important. Then the people is important. Then the third one is a process. What you use in a banking is important. Fourth one, the technology is important. So DPPT. So that is what the main important things. If you have these four, then you can simply adapt your AI into your regular process. So this is the same story, requirement for AI adoption. So why financial institutions adopt AI? The main reason, it improves the growth. The over and above, we can say simply we can automate your regular process. Then adapt to the modern business environment. Also enables the societal benefits through banking sector. So that is how these are the major benefits for financial institution. So what do banks need for AI adoption? One is, as I said, so it is a disruptive AI strategy, data collection, internal digitalization must be the same thing, same this diagram, data, people, process, and technology, same. So this is a technology, data, then process, internal digitalization. Again, people, talent must be created. Then finally, you develop your safe system. So this is what the need for the banks before adopting AIs. So there are set of few recommendations to banks for adoption of AI, pre-adoption and the progress adoption. Pre-adoption, the bank must be organizational culture and readiness. It must acquire organization culture and readiness, meaning the employee people should be well trained in the AI. Then feasibility and impact assessment analysis must be done before adopting AI. During adoption, what we need to focus on. One is a privacy, meaning data access and data privacy. Training to use AI. Then the key enabler, the fundamental key enablers must be derived. Then ethical design. Finally, the accountability and transparency must be there in every AI process. That is how this thing. You see, this is HDFC Bank AA adoption strategy. So first of all, they'll install and configure this complete ML model. Install and configure, identify the data, prepare the data, they build a model, deploy, and maintain the accuracy. They may have a model, inbuilt model. When new data comes, so the data comes from either traditional business data, either a sensor data, or data from the partners, right? I may be signed with 100 channel partners. Maybe data comes from different channel partner, knowledge partner, technology partner. So, or through social media, or through network, or through reference, data may be come from different source. Then this data, how long it will come? It will takes a year data. Then once the data are collected, then the data is given to the data preparation. So it's starting from pre-processing. Data will be pre-processed as a regular ML life cycle, right? So here what we do divide the data into training data set and testing data set. Generally, the best way is 70-30 or 60-40. So 70% we use for training and 30% of data we use for testing. If you use 90-10, overfitting will happen. Is 10-90, underfitting will happen. So accordingly, we'll manage your data sets. Then this data, after pre-processing, data is given to a model. So here the AA model were developed. So this data processing takes a weeks of time, but model training takes a days of time or weekdays. So here we will do the optimization, hyperparameter tuning. You may not achieve your expected accuracy. Then what we will do? We'll fine tune the hyperparameter. So, or we change the various deep learning framework, TensorFlow, CACPhi. So, various deep learning models we may change. Finally, we come up with your ML model. Then that ML model will be trained. Then that will be deployed in a production. So, this is how this HDFC uses your ML model in their regular process. Either it may be applicable for your chatbot. Nowadays, the banking, if you want to take your bank statement, it will take a long time. So log in with net banking or app kind of. Now your chatbot is giving a bank statement, mini statement, a fraction of seconds. So complete ML model were adopted by HDFC, ICICI, UTech. So the top private banks, even SBI. So this is how this ML solution or techniques were adopted. So now you take City Union Bank. City Union Bank also a little bit ahead. They also use ML models. They use logistic regression model as a part of their AML to customers to target their products. Also, they use ML model for their cash optimization at ATM to identify the cash demand, identify the ideal cash tray in the ATM machine. So these areas they use your ML models. So mainly the logical regression they use for classification. Also for TransUnion. TransUnion is a company where they'll maintain your CIBIL scores. So it is a kind of scoring model. They use advanced AI technique in order to calculate your CIBIL scores. There also they use lasso regression and ridge regression. So in City Union banks. So the model is like this. I think we are reaching time. So I'll be skipping a couple of slides. Then the State Bank, you take State Bank. State Bank started using analytics in 2014 onwards. Then by the collaboration with the IIBM, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore and Kolkata, they started using this analytics in their day-to-day process. Also, upon commissioning, so they started recruiting 19 data scientists, and in order to restructure their system, headed by various deputy general manager for analytics, deputy general manager for data, and various people were deputed in order to handle or conversion, banking restructuring process. So this is how the restructuring were done. So there are various ML techniques were used in SBI: collaborative filtering, XG boost, NLP, geolocation analysis, random forest, for different purpose, right? Customer processing system, win-win analysis, fraud detection, see, right? ATM chargeback, a suspicious complaint model. So these are all developed by Python. This analytics are developed by R programming. So this is by SBI. So same linear prediction for identifying the backtrap, then project Shinker, neural network, you get deep random forest, scribbling. These are all used in different purposes by SBI. Also, these are different AML models used in for the bank growth. So, like a prepaid credit card insurance model, they used XG Boost with the ensembling mechanism. So then digital personal loan with UNO, SBI bank app is UNO app. There they are using various ML models. Again, Agri Loan Gold portfolio, they use XG Boost. So similarly, different ML models were used based on the scenario. See, this is again chargeback scenario. There are different things. So at the end, these are the different ways to adopt your AI in the banking sector. Now, how this ethical implications of AI in banking? Generally, the ethical implication of AI in banking are significant. It increasingly transform the financial industry. The main purpose of ethical implications: automating the process and improvising the decision making, at the end enhancing the customer experience. So where we offering the automated services to customer through chatbot, voice banking, and robo advice also initiated recently. Then also we should conducting the screening of potential customers for credit and other financial product application. Then also you can identify new financial product and promote to the existing customers. So these are some ethical way of increasing the trust. Then detecting the suspicious transaction to monitor the risk and report. Then screening the potential job candidates to assess their suitability during the interview process. These are the different ways of ethical implication. So you can see HSBC, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they adopted they adopted a different application, and they faced various ethical risks, and they have solved such ethical risk by using mitigation strategies. HSBC Bank used AI to detect fraudulent transactions. Ethical risk: privacy concern, bias, security, and vulnerability. Here they used anonymized data and conducting regular audits. They use random data to conduct the regular audits. Through audits, they solved such issues. Citibank also use AI to provide customer service like a chatbots. There also privacy concern. Here also they do transparent with customer data usage, and they identify and automate the services. Bank of America uses AI to underwrite the loans. Again, the same compliances issues there also they solved with regulations. Wells Fargo, they used AI to manage the risk, same privacy, bias, security. Also, they used anonymized data, conducting regular audits. So these are the different ways of doing audits by following ethical and regulations and standards. So finally, what we are trying to say is all the banks, they are trying to adopt and enhance their efficiency by meeting the regulatory requirements. So the banks must be remains vigilant as AI adoption continues to grow rapidly. Also, governments also taking steps to develop AI specific regulations and governance. So banks may develop their own self-regulatory AI standards also to demonstrate the trust, accountability, and responsibility to the public as they continue to adopt, evolve with the AI technology. So this is the final learning. So of the session. So every bank needs to adopt AI. At the same time, they need to follow set of AI specific regulations of the which is provided by the government. Also, they need to create their own self-regulatory AI standards in order to give high security and high trust and high accountability and transparency to their customers. So, if you do that, so obviously you can mitigate such issues like bias audit, explainable AI, customer concern, security, skilling, and ethical committees. So banks can adopt all these mitigation measures. Then finally, the world become by addressing all these ethical challenges. Then if you adopt such mitigation measures, then your bank can harness AI benefits responsibly, at the same time fostering a trust, inclusion, and fairness. So your banks looks like this with high trust, high responsible, with more transparency. So when you adopt all these ethical mechanisms, so this is how. Uh, that's all from my side. So thank you. I think I'm on time, 7:30. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Participants, the session is now open for queries. You can please raise your queries.
So we do generally, we do audits for the institutions. So if you likely to join hands with us, you can approach us. So we can do BAPT, other audits. We can give internships to students for cybersecurity students or AI students, kind of things. So even for faculty, we do training. So we can collaborate together. So that's all. So if you have any questions, you can ask, or else you can contact me in this mail ID.
Participants, the session is open for queries. If you have any queries, please do raise the queries. So I think
So this
sir,
is, yeah.
has, sorry for interrupting, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the tool website. You can see IBM AI Fairness 360. You can go and book your web demo. So here you can check. So you can take some credit scoring data, German credit scoring data. So here you can check it. This is the sites you can check your fairness values. You may create, your students may create your number of ML models. You ask them to calculate the fairness value or credit scoring through these tools. So one is this IBM Fairness 360. Another one is the Fairland, Microsoft Fairland. So you can, these are the two sites. So you can check it out. You can create your own fairness models. I'll post these links in the chat. So thank you, ma'am.
If there are no queries, and if you want to ask any other further queries, please do send it to the registered email ID of the FDP so that we will put it forward to Karthikeyan sir and get back to you. So now I would like to formally thank you, sir. So
Thank you,
we
ma'am.
extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Karthikeyan for gracing today's session of the Faculty Development Program on Responsible AI, especially the 5th session. Sir, your incredible expertise spanning over 15 years in AI has proved in your presentation. We were truly inspired by the way you were taking us through all the slides. Your insightful session today has provided us with a wealth of knowledge on emerging technologies, especially with the tools that you concluded at the end. So on behalf of PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, and everyone present and online, we sincerely thank you for sharing your time, your expertise, and vision with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.